Cassie, you're touring on your own. You started your solo career around about 2010, or you took a break in 2010 to think about your future, what to do, continue music. It's quite unusual taking such a break.
I think it's unusual when you're a hard-working musician and music is kind of your dream in life. But for me at the time, it wasn't really my dream, it was my dad's dream, and I was kind of following him around to all of these different venues, and I didn't really know if it was what I wanted to do, so it was important for me to take a break and try other things because I really hadn't experienced anything else except for music. So I think that by finding out what the real world was like, it helped me to kind of fall back in love with music.
Was it the time when you were modeling, for example?
It was. I went and I moved to Memphis and I got involved with a company called Revolutionary Runway, and I was in their cast for about 4 or 5 months before I moved back to Colorado and started my career.
So in a way we can be happier. It was luckily you decided for the music.
Yeah, and I think that break that I took in 2009 and 10 was really important because I wrote my first album, Blue, during that time period. And it wasn't writing songs to write songs to perform. It was really, really deep interpersonal songs that I was writing as a release.
So kind of cathartic or therapeutic?
Yeah, it was way cheaper than hiring a therapist, so yeah. So.
Happen to start playing with your dad? I think you played your first tour with him being 16 years old.
Yeah, I started when I was 16, but I think the reason that I am in music to begin with was I was 12 and it was Thanksgiving and we were at his former bass player's house and they were playing Hey Joe. And my dad was playing guitar, and Kenny Passarelli, who was the bass player at the time, was playing bass. And I really thought the bass line was really interesting, and I asked him to show it to me. And he played it for me, and then I played it back to him kind of instantaneously. And I think that was what sparked the thought in my dad's head for me to be a bass player later on, because it was so natural for me.
How difficult was it getting on your own feet in a way, because everybody knew you were the bass playing daughter of Otis Taylor, and then I think it wasn't that easy to start your own thing.
I think it was a lot easier actually, because people have been interested in me for a lot longer than I have existed on my own, and so I did all the legwork, and I worked for my dad, and I kind of simultaneously was playing bigger and bigger and bigger venues, and so it was an opportunity for me to have kind of notoriety or notability before I was even actually touring on my own, because people were interested. And so when I started my own career, it was a really easy transition, because they were always wondering, oh, will she go solo? Will she just be in his band forever? Will she quit music? And so I think that when I started my own career, it was much easier, and people already knew about me, so it was much more fluid.
Having seen you in Hamburg some years ago, you're a kind of stage animal in a way. There's a lot of energy. You're kind of communicating, but also playing with the audience in a way.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I love most. And when I started high school and when I went to college, I was studying theater. And so I've always really loved the dramatic air that exists in music. And I love playing with the audience because it gives me something new every night. And so instead of playing the same 15 songs on repeat the same way, I like to always think of like a different way to play them or to engage with somebody else while I'm on stage. It keeps it fresh.
You've done 2 albums now. You tried to do the last one with the crowdfunding thing.
Yeah, and it didn't work. So I was looking for 13,000 and we got about like 9. And so they were like, well, you can't have any of it. And it was sad in a way, and then at the other way it was great because my husband stepped in and he sold his car and ended up paying for it, which had its benefits because we weren't spending all of the time recouping all of the benefits that we said that we would do, like dinners or, plane tickets to go see a show or backstage passes. And instead of doing all of that, we got to focus on making the music instead of sending out care packages to everyone. So it didn't work, but at the same time, we still got the result that we wanted.
Is it your husband is traveling with you? He's your tour manager. I think sometimes it's difficult having private and professional life all together.
Are you married?
Yes.
Is your marriage perfect?
No. I won't tell it to my wife.
I think it's like we love each other so much, and couples are always going to have problems no matter what. And for us, the problems are business related instead of being husband and wife related. And so we kind of get it out of the way. And then when we come back off tour and we have 2 or 3 weeks, it's like perfect and we're so happy and we're super in love. And then when we're on the job, it's more of like, oh, I'm right. No, I'm right. But you know. So everyone else who's married knows that it's always ebbing and flowing, and it's a constant job to keep it fresh and fun, but that's just part of the job.
Last question, Mehmet. There seems to be a certain connection with Germany. You've toured here with your father quite a lot. You did the Blues Caravan in 2011. You're with the German label.
Well, I had a lot of history coming to Germany with my dad, and then I toured with the Rough Blues Caravan in 2011, and so I had been here multiple times, and then Hypertension put out my first album, and then they picked up my second album, Out of My Mind, and I keep coming back, and it's great because everything is so close. In the States, you have to drive 8 hours between shows. And here it's like, people are like, oh, 4 hours is so long. And for us, 4 hours is like you're there in a second. And so that's important. And then the other thing is that in the States, there are a lot of blues bands. And so it's hard to be, how do I put this? It's hard to have value when the market is so saturated, and people want a very particular type of blues, the 1-4-5 shuffle that's kind of been done before, and to find a new place with a blues that's kind of on the fringes of standard is really hard. But I find that in Europe, people are more perceptive, they're more interested in something unique, and so you can have more value over here to the listening audience than in the States, when blues is kind of like, everyday music, and everyone has a blues band. So here it's special to be able to come over and to share your gift and to be appreciated. So we like it.